Hello dear student, how are you all? I think everyone are fine there. So student, today we are going to discuss the glossary portion of the lesson The Elixir of Life and question and answers of the same lesson. So student, before beginning, just recall all the three videos what we have learned in the previous video recorded classes. The elixir of life is called divine Amrit. Divine Amrit means the water, a thing, a immortal and eternal thing which is bought by from the heaven, and that thing never going to be die. And here on the earth, we human beings had a God gifted gift, which is water. Which is water here. So, this gift can be called the divine Amrit, and it will remain as it is, immortal till eternity and never going to be die. We human being, we people can going to be die, but this water will remain as it is. If we peoples, human beings, exploit this water with industrialization or polluting it with the help of pesticide, insecticide, and let the dirty water into the fresh water, then what happens? This water will become a reason for our extinction. So it shouldn't happen like this. So after all, what we have learned from the lesson, we have learned many useful things from this lesson, that the elixir of life should be conserved properly. It should be conserved, it should be preserved, it should be collected and utilized in a proper manner for a better productivity in the sense of economical, in the sense of political, and in the sense of social well-being status of a people. So this all pair can develop and grow side by side if the water is preserved, utilized, and collected properly in a proper systematic manner. If the human beings will take the responsibility that we never going to pollute this water and we will never allow anyone us to disturb this God gifted natural thing, then this water will remain till last when there is a human beings, when there is a humankind. So this water should be preserved for a betterment of the future. So student, let's begin with the glossary part and the question and answers of the lesson, the elixir of life. The glossary portion, what it says, elixir, a liquid substance with the magical power to prolong life indefinitely is called elixir. Then comes billowing, what it means? Yes, the word billowing means spreading over a large area is called billowing. Okay, so another remaining glossary, a very small mark is called speck. Silt, sand, mud, etc. carried by flowing water and left at the mouth of a river. Okay, sustained, kept alive, potent, powerful. Suspension, the state of water with very small particles of sand and other particles. Catchment area, an area which collects plentiful rainfall. Precipitation, separation of solid substances from liquid. Alluvial, areas created with matter deposited by rivers. Crust, hard surface or outer covering. Successive, happening one after the other. Menace, threat. Substantial, large in size, value or importance. Gullies and ravines, channels made by running water. Terracing, preparing different levels. Ruts, deep paths. Contour, cultivation. Cultivation along the same level of elevation to prevent erosion. So elevation means the agriculture activity and then cultivation activity taken at the higher heights is called contour cultivation. Momentum, speed. Imperative, important. Conservation, preventing from going waste. Artesian water, underground water springing from a hole. Harnessing, controlling and putting into use. Scrub jungle, forest consisting of stunted trees. Afforestation, the process of planting areas of land with trees. Civilized forest, man-made forest. Okay, it's called civilized forest. Subsidiary, secondary or less important. Barges, large boats with float bottoms. So student, these all are the glossary words which are taken here in this lesson, the elixir of life. So student, I would like to say you that please pause this video and write it down in your literature notebook, because some of you have the books and some of you not. So this glossary portion should be paused enough and it should be written in your notebook. Understood? So let's begin with the question and answers of the elixir of life, okay, with the help of the scrolling video. Question 1 says, answer briefly the following questions. Question number 1, what is the imaginary elixir of life? Answer is the divine Amrit, which can make man immortal, is called the elixir of life. Question number 2, what according to the writer is the real elixir of life? So according to the writer, the real elixir of life is plain water. Question number 3, what is the wonderful difference the writer talks about in paragraph number 2? So student, in the paragraph number 2, what the wonderful thing here the writer talks about? Answer is the wonderful difference the writer talks about is between the two areas, okay, which were they? The Libyan desert and the Nile valley. The sea of billowing sand without a speck of green on the side of the Libyan desert, and the green, fertile, densely populated area on the valley of the Nile in Egypt. So these are the two wonderful difference what the writer talks about in the paragraph number 2. Now comes to question number 4. What brought about this wonderful difference? Answer is the wonderful difference was brought about by the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its source a couple of thousands of miles away. So it is flowing down from the Mediterranean and it is flowing throughout the thousands of miles away. Understood? So question number 5. What is the cheering sight mentioned in paragraph 5? So the answer is the cheering sight to the writer is the filled rain-fed tanks that are so common in South India. So it is called here cheering sight, which is situated in the South India. Then comes question number 6. What does the writer compare water in a landscape to? And the second question of the same question, what does he make this comparison? So the answer of the both questions are, first one, the writer compares water in a landscape to the eyes in a human face. Understood? Okay. Second, he makes this comparison because water reflects the mood of the hour, being bright and big when the sun shines, turning to dark and gloomy when the sky is overcast. So the above two question answer is these two what we have read now. Okay, which were they? What does the writer compare water in a landscape to, and why does he make this comparison? So this answer came in the question paper of this year in a MCQ format. See, the eyes looks like a water, so that's why the writer compares here the human eyes with the landscape of the water which was there on the rain-fed tank. Understood? Now comes to the question number 7. So the question number 7 reads here, how does the water in rain-fed tanks get its color? Answer is, the color of the water in rain-fed tanks is from the silt or finely divided soil in suspension. Okay, this color varies with the nature of the earth in the catchment area and is most vivid immediately after a fresh inflow following river or following rain. So what happens in the rain fed tanks? Okay, in the bottom place you will find the silt, okay, fine particles of the soil, and they were very colorful when the whole tank is filled with the water, and it will shine, and it makes a very better beauty scene. Okay, whoever watch towards the rain fed tanks. Understood? Now comes to the question number 8. So the question number 8, what is the main cause of soil erosion? What is the main cause of soil erosion? Answer is sudden burst of excessively heavy resulting in a large runoff of surplus water are the principal factors causing soil erosion. So the soil erosion take place when the heavy rain will occurs and the water flows very fastly. The water which is flowing very fastly, it will take some of the soil, okay, from the field where the farmer is growing its crop, and it will make that soil unavailable, even unuseless, and here the soil is erode through the flow of the water, and that soil became waste, and the cultivable land is decreasing, okay, day by day and year by year because of the process of soil erosion, and the farmer is losing its field, its area. Now comes to the question number 9. What other factors add to the erosion of precious soil? So the answer is contributory causes to the erosion of precious soil are the slope of the land, removal of the natural protective coat of vegetation, the existence of ruts along with the water can flow rapidly gathering momentum, and the absence of any checks to such flow. So these all are the factors of the erosion of precious soil. Understood? Afforestation is going on, okay, vegetation is not done properly, and here peoples are cutting the trees for the purpose of economical benefit, and the strength of the tree of holding the soil is loosened, and when it rains heavily, that soil comes with the water and it will flow in the river, okay, and at last uh, it will become slit. Understood? Fine. Now comes to the question number 10. Here, how can soil erosion be prevented? So the answer is soil erosion can be prevented by terracing of the land, okay, which cultivation? Stepping cultivation, okay, terracing of the land, construction of bunds to check the flow of water, the practice of contour cultivation, and the planting of appropriate types of vegetation. So construction of the small dams to check the flow of the water, okay, to know about how the water is flowing and in which speed, okay. Now comes to the question number 11. Here, how does the prevention of soil erosion serve a double purpose? Answer is adoption of techniques preventing soil erosion would also help to conserve and keep the water where it is wanted, that is on and in the soil. So here the question is asking prevention of soil erosion serve a double purpose, okay, by adoption of techniques preventing soil erosion would also help to conserve and keep the water where it is wanted, that is on and in the soil. This is what two main utmost factors to prevent the soil erosion from happening, okay, and the prevention of soil erosion serve a double purpose here, okay. Now comes to the question number 12. Here the question number 12 is what are the two sources of water mentioned in paragraph 10? So student, read out the paragraph number 10 and listen there in the video thoroughly. So the answer is rain and the snow flow or a snowfall are the two main factors, okay, in the form of sources of water. So question number 13, the land formed of silt in alluvial areas is always fertile. Say whether the statement is true or false. Yes, the statement is true, because the land which is formed of silt is alluvial areas is always fertile, because this silt is taken out from the soil, and they are the very fine particles of the soil, and they were gathered at a single place, okay, in the mouth of the river, and they will gather there, and if you grow the crop, and it will grow in a such a better manner because it's have a very good fertility of soil. That's why here the alluvial areas have a good silt which is taken out through the flow of the water in a such a better manner. Okay, then comes to the question number 14. Here the question number 14 says a blank takes place when water carrying silt mixes with the salt water of the sea. Okay, then here, so the answer is erosion. What it means? Erosion take place when water carrying silt mixes with the salt water of the sea. Okay, the silt which is taken out from the flow of the river or flow of the water, and it will mix with the water, then that is a good factor where the good soil mixes with the water. Okay, and it will get away from the mouth of the river, and here erosion is a main factor for it. Then comes to question number 15. What it say? Yes, planting of the appropriate type of vegetation will result in, yes, will result in D, reducing the momentum of the flow of water. Okay, the momentum of the flow of water will reduce if you do the appropriate type of vegetation. Okay, if there is no appropriate type of vegetation, then what happens? Your vegetation will also get destroyed, and even there will be not a perfect momentum of the flow of water. Okay, then comes to the question number 16. Here, what does the writer mean by civilized forest? Yes, as we read in the video, answer is forest created by the deliberate planting of saplings by human beings has contrasted with wild and untamed natural jungles. Okay, see, this can be called here civilized forest, the forest which is created by the human beings. Okay, they were grown by the human beings. A small saplings were grown by the human beings, and they were grown in a systematic manner, and they became densely afterwards. So these forests are called civilized forest which the human beings have grown. Then comes to the question number 17. Mention any two advantages of civilized forest. So the two advantages of the civilized forest is civilized forest would directly and indirectly prove a source of untold wealth to the country. They would check soil erosion, conserve the rainfall of the country from flowing away to waste. So they can conserve the rainfall of the country from flowing away to waste. So this is the two main advantage of the civilized forest. Okay, so how they can conserve the rainfall of the country by going waste? If it rains heavily, then more than 30 to 40% of the rain water can be conserved by these trees. Okay, they were utilized by these trees for the purpose of growing. When the trees grows, okay, when the tree grows, then the evaporation level will also decrease. When the evaporation level decreases, then the rainfall will occur very less, and it will help us to put the environment in a such a good condition, because the pollution will increase. It will consume the many and much amount of the carbon dioxide, which will no further go in the ozone layer, and it will not deplete the ozone layer, and the global warming will also not take place, and even the evaporation will also not take place too much. Okay, so these are all the factors where the advantages of civilized forest. Then comes to the question number 18. Here, the question number 18 is, how will the development of hydroelectric power help to overcome the inadequacy of water supply? Answer is, the development of hydroelectric power would enable underground water to be tapped to a greater extent than at present, and thus help to overcome the difficulties arising from irregularities or inadequacies of other sources of supply. So what happens when the water is preserved in one area with the construction of the dams? So the electricity can be produced properly, and the groundwater level will also increase, okay, which were decreased by digging of the bore wells. So these all factors help, okay, because of the hydroelectric power to the common person. Then comes the question number 19. So the question number 19 is here, complete the following sentences with appropriate details. So the Nile Valley is a creation of, answer is the river itself. Okay, it was brought down as the finest silt in its flood waters from the highlands of Abyssinia and from remote Central Africa, and led down through the ages in the trough through which the Nile flows into the sea. So the Nile Valley is a very beautiful place. It is made of the silt which is brought down from the Abyssinia and from the Central Africa, and in the Nile Valley you will get a better kind of vegetation, and the plantation and the human beings are settled there in such a proper condition. Okay, so this is the answer for this question. All right, and the question 19th B, dash are a cheering site. What are the cheering site? Red rain-fed tanks in South India, when they are full, they are the cheering site. And the question number C, a remarkable feature of water is its power to carry silt or finely divided soil in suspension. Okay, and D, it is the silt which gives the characteristic water to the water in rain-fed tanks. Understood? Okay, E, the upper layer of soil, the foundation of all agriculture. F, ruts are formed by rapidly flowing rainwater. Okay. G, terracing of lands helps in preventing soil erosion. H, Indian agriculture depends heavily on seasonal rainfall. I, farmyard manure should not be used as fuel. Okay, so it shouldn't use like this. This farmyard manure should be used for the decomposing purpose. If you use as a fuel, if you burn it, then what happens? Pollution will increase, and the evaporation level will also take place more, and the people will face the scarcity of water. Okay, J speaks here, dash would enable to overall development of the rural economy. So answer is availability of electric power. Availability of electric power would enable the overall development of the rural economy. So student, here we have discussed the 19 question and answers of the elixir of life. Next we had the close study in the page number 23, and we have an paragraph writing. We have here in the fill in the blanks with antonyms of the words underlined. So student, in the class what we have discussed, we discussed antonyms, synonyms, articles. So here we have some question related to the antonyms we will discuss in the recorded class. Along with what we will do, we will solve more and more questions related to the antonym and synonym, which will help you to increase your vocabulary, and it will help you to MCQ pattern, which is a new for you. So student, the question number 19 what we have discussed in the comprehension check questions, it is very important one, because this question carries totally 9 questions, and these 9 questions would be expected to be coming in the exam. So have a better thorough of it. Understood? So student, for the time being, watch this video thoroughly and have a better understanding of, and make a notes of each and every answer, okay, just below to that particular question, and prepare your notebook with the question and answers of the elixir of life. And in the coming video, we will going to begin with the grammar portion of this lesson. So student, for the time being, take care and have a nice day.